Your Excellency, State Minister of the Ministry of Innovation and Technology of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Your Excellencies, ambassadors of OSCE member states and founding states, esteemed members of the diplomatic corps of our member states here in Addis Ababa, and of course colleagues from the Ministry of Innovation and Technology. Ladies and gentlemen, as some of you that have attended many of my interventions and speeches will probably know, the length of my speeches unfortunately tend to correspond to the length of eternity. However, given the delays that we've had in starting the session today, I will seek to be as concise as possible in the knowledge that my Undersecretary General for Technological Innovation and Digitalization Enhancement will very, very successfully, as always, expound upon the details of the Greater South Information System. But allow me first and foremost to welcome you warmly to the OSCE headquarters for this briefing that is of particular importance to us. As you are all aware, this briefing regarding the Greater South Fair for Endogenous Technology, GreSFET, which is one of the key initiatives of the organization in this current biennium, and for which, of course, we are privileged and honored to count with the Ministry of Innovation and Technology as co-hosts. And perhaps my role, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, is really a role that seeks to put into context the rationale of GreSFET within the context of the OSCE mandate and our strategic undertakings in accordance with General Assembly resolutions. As you are all aware, one of the core mandates of the OSCE is, of course, to accompany our member states in bridging the techno-digital divide. And needless to say, it appears superfluous for me here to reiterate the centrality of technology to our development endeavors in each one of our countries, in each member state. That being said, it has always been our view, from the Organization of Southern Cooperation, from the Secretariat of your organization, that to bridge the techno-digital divide, it is insufficient for our countries to satisfy themselves with the solutions that are generally being provided to us, which consist generally in donations of technology, for which, of course, we are grateful, or the importation of what are often costly technologies. Because whereas these two measures contribute to addressing the divide in terms of access to technology, it is our firm belief, ladies and gentlemen, that given the nature of those technologies that we receive through donations or importations, what ultimately occurs is that these technologies are closed source technologies. They are proprietary technologies. Technologies that our countries can therefore not fully integrate within our systems. Technology we cannot build upon. And of course, given the exponential development of technology in the fourth industrial revolution, within 5, 6, 7 years, these technologies that we will have gone at great length at acquiring today will be obsolete. And we will find ourselves in the same situation in which we currently find ourselves. That is, being passengers rather than drivers of the technological and digital revolutions. And therefore, from the OSCE, our determination is to accompany member states in bridging the divide, not only in terms of access to technology, but in particular, to bridge the divide between technology consuming and technology producing countries. And of course, our approach is four-layered. The first working with member states in order to facilitate the uptake, but also developing in-house through our Department of Technological Innovation and Digitalization Enhancement, developing in-house open source software for our member states that can be provided to them, and because it is open source, that they can adapt, change, modify, build upon. The second layer is working with member states on a regional basis, so as to pull together the capacities and resources necessary to create conducive environments for the development of technologies. Of course, this goes through policy support, regulatory framework support, but most importantly of all, and this is what we are planning going towards 2025, the establishment of regional incubators and accelerators to provide the necessary platforms and environments for our youth to develop technologies, to launch startups. The third of the layers of our intervention with regards to technology is, of course, to work towards intensifying, accelerating South-South technology transfers. And of course, when we speak of South-South technology transfers, we do not do so only because we're the organization of Southern cooperation, but because South-South technology transfers are also often more relevant to move away from digital technologies. I often give the example of agriculture, where I was recently exchanging with one of our member states a few months ago that had spent 3 years, ladies and gentlemen, of negotiation to acquire a number of tractors for agriculture. Yet, that member state, like is the case in many of our countries, had an agriculture that was based in valleys, in mountain, in areas that are not plain fields. And of course, those tractors that they imported were from a country in the north that had an agriculture on plain fields, that is, tractors that once they arrived were simply not adapted to the terrain of that member state's agriculture. Yet, when you go to Southeast Asia, there are a number of countries that have developed, that share that same terrain, have developed technologies, tractor technologies, that are adapted to that terrain, that would have been far more relevant for that member state had they been aware of its existence. So working with member states to facilitate South-South technology transfers. But last and not least, working with member states to facilitate strategic partnerships, visibility, and economies of scale for homegrown technologies. And this particular last point is where GreSFET, the Greater South Fair for Endogenous Technology, takes all its meaning to provide a platform for the youth and the technological companies of member states to present their technologies at an international scale, to benefit from exchanges, of course, of best practices, but also in particularly to facilitate for them, through GreSFET, strategic partnerships that can allow them to grow those technologies and to have economies of scale. And of course, I will not spend much more on this Greater South Fair for Endogenous Technology because my USG Tide will do an excellent work at doing so, and of course, His Excellency the State Minister will also spearhead the rationale of it being hosted here for its first edition in Addis Ababa. What I will, however, only mention at this stage is that GreSFET will be held in October this year for the first time in Addis Ababa. But GreSFET is meant to be held every 2 years and grow in scale as well. But one thing that is crucial to mention at this particular stage, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, is that our objective is that every 2 years, GreSFET will be held in a different member state and will be held in different regions of our member states. And therefore, I avail myself of this opportunity to also invite all of you to express interest in the upcoming months towards hosting the second edition of GreSFET. Because when we come together, ladies and gentlemen, we are entirely capable of becoming the drivers, the shapers of this technological revolution. And of course, GreSFET embodies that spirit. And of course, to conclude, I thank you all for your presence, your proactive support in ensuring the success of GreSFET through the proactive participation of your government, and of course, to continue engaging towards the building of a more equitable and a more prosperous digital revolution for all. Thank you very much.